Hello and what is up everyone, it is Hachi from the Art of Dota, and in this video I'm going to be discussing why I think Medusa is OP right now, or if not OP, definitely a very strong hero that you definitely got to watch out for in your pubs if people start to pick her up. The thing is, she's not being played too much in pubs right now, I would say for like two reasons. One, she's quite boring. She takes a lot of time to farm up before she really gets active, and even then she doesn't of course like get chased for kills or anything like that. She's just running down your lanes and pushing or getting Roshan. Medusa is not a hero that you're gonna like jump in and get all these kills. She's not flashy at all. She kind of just gets farmed up and then gets unkillable, and then you just run down the lane. And two, I think she's also pretty dependent on your team. I think the hero is strong on her own, but you definitely need some coordination and teamwork to make her work out. It's not like you're going to be able to like solo carry the game with like a Storm Spear or anything like that, being able to just get solo kills onto enemy cores. You do need some teamwork to make her work out. But I think if you can find that teamwork, I don't know, you convince your teammates. This is the new ranking systems coming out. They really want to calibrate. Right? I'm gonna pick Medusa, guys. You pick Drow, and you pick some support, and you stack Ancients for me, and we're gonna win the game. I mean, if you convince your teammates to do that in matchmaking, I would say she's an auto win, and a very easy to execute win as well. You're not gonna need to do anything flashy. You literally just need to work together as a team, and stack some camps. Make sure you push at the right timings, and that's it. That's all you got to do, and that's why she's so popular right now in the pro meta, is because if the enemy team doesn't do anything to stop her, like you feel like you're playing, I guess in StarCraft you just call it the macro game. If you guys haven't played StarCraft, that's the best way I can describe it. But she just gets farmed up, and she gets to a point where you can't kill her, and then once you get to that point, you run down a lane and you take everything. And if they try to fight you and they die, then they lose the game. So that's how Medusa kind of plays. In the mid lane, she's very good against intimate heroes, because the way Mana Snake works, or Mystic Snake, is that it takes a percentage of their mana. And against int heroes that have usually bigger mana pools, this is going to work great. As you see, she's playing against an OD here. CTY, this is actually CTY standing in for Secret. And this is also the infamous 000 OD game that Sumail flamed him on Twitter for. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that, but yeah, he does go 000 in this game, and he is a stand-in. I don't know how Secret feels about that, but they did still qualify or make it to the playoffs of Perfect World, so I'd say they're okay. They just picked him. The thing is, they picked him just farming heroes after this game. They're like, well, OD is a farming hero, but he does have to fight at some point. But after this, I think they picked him like heroes like Morphling. They're just like, alright, you go do your own thing, CTY. I know you can't speak English very well, do your own thing, but we're getting sidetracked here. Back to Nisha and his Medusa. So notice he was playing in the mid lane against OD, and he was not doing the greatest early on, but now he's evened out and even pulled ahead of OD. And because Medusa's ability to go into the jungle and farm it up real fast, not only can she use the Mystic Snake to bounce around at big stacks, but she also has access to Split Shot. And Split Shot is something I like to talk about, is because this is probably the major change that happened to the hero from 7.06 to 7.07 is her Split Shot. So before, it was like toggleable, and it would scale up with like the number of units it attacked as well as the damage, but now it only scales with the damage. It hits 3 extra targets at every level. So it says 3 extra targets, and the reason why it says extra is because you still attack the target that you focus, right? The target that you click on. And with that target, it doesn't take less damage. It doesn't get reduced at all. You still do full damage on the target you click on. Before, that wasn't the case. When it was still toggleable, when it was the old Split Shot, all the shots would do the same damage, and they were all reduced. And that's why it was toggleable, because if you're just hitting one unit, you didn't want to do reduced damage, of course. So what this pretty much means now is Medusa is a lot better at being able to focus targets, while at the same time still getting that Split Shot damage out. So in a team fight, you can focus on someone who's low, or focus on a key target that's stunned or whatever, but you're still doing the Split Shot damage. And this is a lot better in general, because how often would it be where you're just attacking like 4 enemy heroes with your Split Shot? Not very often. Usually the supports are in the back, or some other hero is in the back line or behind you, and you're not hitting everybody with the split shot. It's only when like enemy team is like all melee heroes and they commit on you is when you're actually hitting everybody with the split shot. So in general, this is just going to be a buff to his damage or her damage as a hero, because you're gonna be able to focus a target in a team fight, do your full damage onto them, but at the same time, whoever comes to help them or whoever's nearby, creeps or whatever, you're also going to do 75% of that full damage onto them, and that is at max level. And you can see how it scales here: 30, 45, 60, and then 75%. And as you see, Nisha's actually maxing it over the mana shield at this point, and the reason behind that is because at some point Medusa just rotates into the jungle. As you saw, he like laned for like the first 10 minutes or so, but then he just started rotating into the jungle, and you can farm the jungle very quickly and safely as well. All you gotta do is ask your supports to make some stacks, and if they don't stack for you, you can even stack the ancients for yourself, and farming the ancients is probably the big thing that she can do to accelerate her farm over any other hero in the game. And you can see easily Nisha's at the top of the net worth, and this is how you're going to want to play Medusa. You don't want to go and pressure the tower, right? Maybe the enemy mid laner might have left to go gank, and at that point you just ping. You just go, alright, enemy mid laner is not there, and you kind of want to push the lane in, but you don't want to commit, because with the way she wants to skill now is she actually doesn't want to put Stone Gaze that early on. Early point in Stone Gaze doesn't do much for you. It's only when you actually start pushing with your team is when you want to put 1 point into Stone Gaze. And that usually occurs around 15 minutes or so. So the hero is very slow to come online still. Don't get me wrong about that, but she's a lot faster than she was in the previous patches, where it would really take her like 30 minutes to be really powerful unless she's playing with a Drow. And now Medusa Drow is absolutely bonkers. If you go Medusa Drow, I would say in a pub, most of the time, if you execute it properly, it's just going to be an auto win, because the enemy are not going to know how to deal with it. They're not going to put the pressure on the right heroes. You're going to get absolute free farm on Medusa. Even if you didn't have a good laning stage, you'll just go back into the jungle and you'll farm up so fast. As long as the supports make some stacks for you, you'll be top of net worth, and enemy team can just make one bad play. You get Roshan and you just run down a lane, and they just lost the racks like that. Easy peasy. That's why I think this hero is potentially really good in pubs. So about her pub win rate, it's actually pretty low in 5k and above average, but in lower MMRs, so 4k, 3k, 2k, her win rate is not bad, and she's not being played much either. And I can guarantee you, these players are not playing her properly at 3k, 4k, 2k. So if you just know roughly what you're doing, and you tell your team to kind of play around you, you should be able to get a lot of free MMR with this hero actually. And this is one of the reasons why I'm making this video. I feel like it's very useful, and the hero is kind of underplayed, so not a lot of people know about Medusa. I was playing with a 7k the other day, and even he didn't know how to play Medusa or what she did. So I think this is going to be a valuable video, so stay tuned and keep paying attention. So back to what I was saying before, is that she's able to farm up really quickly in the jungle because of this new split shot. As you saw, Nisha favored it over the mana shield, and pretty much you want to put enough mana shield in lane so that you're not gankable. And back to the laning stage, I feel like the mid lane is the best lane for Medusa because it's pretty hard to gank, because it's a lot narrower, and as long as you have an idea roughly of where those enemy supports are coming from, you just kind of stay on the other side and they show up in your vision, and you can just like walk back into the tower. Even if they do go on you, you just have the mana shield to cover you, and usually you can get back under tower in time for support to TPN, or for you just to get away. And the main thing is as well is enemy mids need mana to play aggressively on you, and especially in lower MMRs where they don't really know what the Mystic Snake does, they don't respect it. You're gonna toss it on like a creep, it's gonna bounce, and it actually does a lot of damage as well. So a lot of times you'll end up just zoning the enemy mid out with your Mystic Snake because they'll keep getting hit by it. And we're watching right now is this the exact opposite of what you want to do against Medusa, is go for Roshan and have them sneak it out and give her the free Rosh. Because this hero is a one Rosh wonder. She gets that first Rosh about this time, between the 15 and 20 minute mark, and she just seems unstoppable because you can't focus her. She actually does enough damage that you can't ignore her with just the Mask of Madness and a Dragon Lance or something like that. Just 2 items really. Normally, that's the build, Mask of Madness and Dragon Lance. Other players have build things as well, like blade mail, but that's really dependent on the game. I would say the safest build and the best build in most scenarios is probably the Massive Madness Dragon Lance, and then Nisha even went a little bit further and went into the Hurricane Pike here, but you can just keep that Dragon Lance and then build into a higher tier item instead of upgrading it if you don't feel like you need that Hurricane Pike for the extra mobility. So we're going to see what he does with Aegis right now, but the other thing that made Medusa a lot better in this patch is because of her talents. So look at her level 10 talent here, and she does get 25 damage, which is significant. Because 25 damage, and add that with either Avenge Aura or Drought Aura, and she starts hitting hard. Consider that she is hitting not only full damage on the target that she's focusing, but also 75% of that onto 3 targets nearby. So add that damage, add that Drought Aura, and with pretty minimal items on her, I would say, and just attack speed from the Mask of Madness, she's not able to be ignored. And that's the big thing about the hero, right? If you can't ignore her, she's gonna take your building, she's gonna do damage to you, and you'll have to back away, and she won't kill you necessarily unless you overcommit. But that's the thing, you have to eventually commit onto her if she's pushing, because you're gonna lose your towers. As you notice here, Nisha has a DD, he's pushing into mid, he's gonna TP here without fear into the top lane. Doesn't get the tower deny, but the enemy team can't do anything about her. They just have to TP out because he has the Aegis. And this is why I consider her the one Aegis wonder, is because she gets that first Aegis and you don't push with it. A lot of people feel like they get the first Aegis and you feel super strong and you push with it. No, you use it to secure maybe some towers for sure, but normally, unless you're very far ahead and you have like a drought and you're just hitting super hard right now, the enemy can ignore you, you want to use this first Aegis to just farm up the map freely, right? Because they're not going to be able to go on you. You can push the wave out as far as you want, and this hero, you are dependent on playing around your team. So that's why in pubs, she's not the greatest, but again, with a little bit of communication, goes a long way. Because at this point in the game, you get your first big item is when she peaks. She's super strong. So it can be a Scotty, it can be a Butterfly in this case, that because Butterfly is pretty good against OD and even Draw Ranger. But you get that first item, whatever it is. A lot of people are skipping Lincolns now. That used to be the old build on Medusa. Her build is a lot more aggressive now, so it's gonna be that either Butterfly or Scotty, and that's when you go push. And that's when you go high ground, because then you're super strong. You have that first big item, you're hitting a lot harder, and in addition, you have that Scotty, you're also providing a slow. Again, it doesn't apply in your split shots, but again, looking back at the talents, if you get that level 25 talent, so if the game does end up dragging out for longer, and that's the beauty of Medusa, right? She can peak very early on. If the enemy messes up and like they die too many times, they go into you and you get way over farmed, you can end the game super fast. But if the game does go late, Medusa's a late game beast. So it's kind of a win-win there, as you see. Like, you either win the early game and you start snowballing, you take towers, and you take away map control from the enemy team. And that's usually what's going to happen if they don't really have an answer to you in lane. So the counter to Medusa is actually just killing her, right? Having heroes that can invade her jungle and kill her over and over again. But you see, Secret didn't have any of those heroes in this game, and all TTY could do is really farm. And he definitely could have attempted to go for some more aggressive build, because he did go for Midas in this game. But let's say you try to go and kill the Medusa and you fail, you wasted all your time. She's gonna go back into the jungle, get all that farm, and you're just even in a worse position than if you just farmed up. So the hero does have that playstyle where she feels like you need to respond to her, because if you let the game go on how she wants it to go on, which is super slow without many kills, she's just going to out farm you, and at some point she will just end the game. And of course, there's still counters to Medusa. Like, people consider counters like AM, but even heroes like AM aren't that good against Medusa, because AM does take a little bit of time to come online. And if he doesn't have the greatest laning stage or whatever, Medusa does peak earlier than AM, surprisingly. Especially, again, with heroes like Drow or Venge. And then AM is looking silly trying to kill a Medusa when she's just way over farmed with an Aegis, and he's just pushing high ground, and AM has like a Battle Fury and a Yasha, right? But again, looking back at the talents, her level 25 talent, split shot uses modifier, that's insane. You go for the Maelstrom build, you go for the Scotty build, and suddenly you're shooting lightning, you're shooting freezing arrows everywhere. Her level 20 talent is really good as well. You see Nisha just picks it up here with the 800 mana. And again, this is normally how you want to skill Medusa. Some games you can argue going for the attack speed over the Mystic Snake Mana Steal. But in this game, I think the Mana Steal is pretty powerful, especially against heroes like OD that has such a big mana pool. It's going to do not only a lot of damage, but also take away a decent chunk of mana as well. But the main thing is her level 25 talent. I feel like that's the biggest change. She didn't have this one before, and with that, it really changes the hero in the late game. Just having Scotty applied to all of your arrows is insane in team fight. It makes it so difficult for enemy to fight, especially if they have melee heroes, which are already notoriously bad against Medusa, and what she does. And with this level 25 talent, you just feel like you can't win. So unless you're able to put pressure onto Medusa early and make something happen, which does require coordination as well. So it goes both ways, right? I did mention that you need some coordination to play the hero and make it work in pubs, but also to play against the hero, the enemies need coordination. Either that or your teammates just feed. That it also can happen. So not the greatest hero in pubs, but if you can depend on your teammates, they're dependable people. They're using their mic or they're typing. They feel like you can trust them. Pick Medusa and you just gotta tell them, right? I'll tell you what to tell your teammates. Right? I know how to play this hero. This hero is OP. Just listen to me and trust me. I'll win you this game, and I'll get some free badges or whatever they're gonna add in. I don't know if they're still gonna be MMR, but we're gonna get some nice badges. We're gonna upgrade our badges together. We're gonna get Divine Rapier 5 and 5 stars or whatever. Anyway, that's pretty much what you're gonna tell them. You just gotta make it seem like you know what you're doing on Medusa, and she's not that hard. I mean, it definitely takes a while. You gotta play a couple of games before you know your timings, things like that. But literally, all the hero, most of the skill, quote unquote skill, that you're gonna need to play the hero is just knowing your timing, knowing when you're strong, knowing when you can fight and when you can't fight, when you should farm and when you can push. That's literally all you need to know. Because as for team fight execution, what are you gonna do? A-click the ground, pop your ultimate at an ideal time, and make sure you don't use your Mask of Madness and aren't able to ult. Other than that, you're literally A-clicking down on a lane and you're hitting neutral creeps for most of the game. So, not a very high skill hero in the sense of mechanics, but you definitely do require a decent amount of knowledge of how Dota works and how the hero works to figure out your timings, make the right moves on the map, right? And that's just gonna come with time. I can talk a little bit about it, as I already did discuss a little bit about it before, but pretty much you want to always keep track of what enemy items are, what your level is, what their levels are, and realize, right, I'm just way ahead. I'm 3 levels above the next closest hero in the game, and I'm definitely out farming everybody. And you gotta look at your item timings as well. You want to play around, when you first pick up your Dragon Lance, you might want to go take that mid tower if it's not already taken, and then just back off and go back into the jungle, farm for more stacks, get your next item, Scotty, Maelstrom, Butterfly, and then you go, alright, I'm pretty strong. Or if you know the enemy's Rosh, you can go to Rosh and keep a team fight there. But what you don't want to do with the hero is kind of like run around and help your teammates too much, because at that point you're wasting a lot of farm time. The hero is definitely farm dependent, so if your team's constantly fighting, just use that as space. If they all feed, I mean, that's gonna suck and it might lose you the game, but if they trade evenly, that's ideal, right? If your teammate is just fighting the enemy team constantly and trading evenly, and you're farming efficiently in the jungle, you're getting ahead, while the enemy team, they're most likely bringing their carry as well, because that's how lower more pubs work. They see a fight and everyone just kind of runs there without much thinking. And if your team still manages to go even, maybe slightly less even, you lose 3 but you get 2 or whatever. If you use that time to farm up in the jungle and you're confident about your farming, you're going to be able to pull ahead for sure. And at that point, you just got to know when you're ahead enough to run down the lane. Ping your teammates, you got to have to sit behind me here, or we're going to have to go for Roshan together, and you're going to just run down the lane and you're going to win the game. Just quite easy. I make it sound a little bit easier than it actually is, but I definitely like for you guys to try out the hero, as the replay has ended here. And I hope you guys learned a lot about Medusa and why I think she's very good right now. I'm gonna definitely try her out in pubs. I am support player mainly, but if I do get core position, I'm definitely picking that Medusa and trying her out here because it kind of fits my play style. I would say, I like that solid passive play style that is gonna win you the game. It's not flashy at all, but it works and it's great. So I'll see you all in the next video and peace out. And if you did, I'm choking on my own spit there, guys. I'm sorry. If you did learn something from this video, make sure you leave a like down below. And as well, I am uploading videos pretty much every single day or every other day. I'm not on a consistent schedule yet, but I eventually will. So make sure you subscribe because there's a lot more content coming soon, especially for 7.07. So peace out, and I'll see you all later.